Hi there, my name is Michelle and I'm part of the team here at Red Helix. Today I'm going to be showing you a high-level introduction to the EDR part of our MDR service. If you require a further deep dive into the product after seeing this demo, then please feel free to reach out to the Red Helix team. So, as you can see, our EDR service is underpinned by CrowdStrike. What I'm going to be showing you now is a high-level overview to demonstrate where our customers are benefiting from a feature perspective once they embark on their EDR journey with us. With our EDR service, you receive 24/7 threat detection. We are constantly monitoring for a needle in the haystack, and if anything deviates from the norm, as part of our managed service, we'll reach out to you immediately. Now, if we look at the product itself, we are able to classify any new detections in your environment. So we're able to see the severity, whether that be informational, low, medium, high, as seen here, and they can go all the way to critical. We also receive the tactic and technique that's mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, the timestamp of when it happened, and the host ID that's related to that protection. And then from here, we can click on See Detection, and once you click on that, you get a timeline of the event that is associated with that ticket. Our SOC team will then spend time investigating these tickets. They can look at a process graph to see an overview, or look at it from a perspective of a process tree. Then, once they've made their decision of what needs to happen, the SOC will take action, whether that is containing that specific device or identifying the detection as a false positive. If the detection is seen to be a false positive, that's not a problem, as we can then create specific exclusions. So, we can go straight into it here and click on exclusions. We can then create an exclusion, and that detection will not come up again in the environment, and that reduces those false positives. Another feature that customers can benefit from is our Fusion SOAR. This strengthens our mean time to response and mean time to detection. So how does that work? Well, in the event of X, then do Y, and I've created a specific detection for the purpose of this demo. So once you see an alert come through and the severity is equal to critical, what actions do we want to take proactively? Well, we want to contain that device and quarantine it from the network. We also want to raise a ticket on ServiceNow so that our SOC team can investigate. Then we will send an email out to the customer, and we can create multiple of these workflows as soon as CrowdStrike is installed across the endpoints. We have some automatic workflows built in as part of our MDR service that are in place immediately, but if there are any tailored or custom workflows that need to be made on behalf of your specific environment, that can also be done as part of the MDR service. In order to achieve endpoint protection, we deploy the sensor on your machine, and that could be Windows, Mac, or Linux. This process is done in 3 phases. During phase 1, we baseline your environment, and we do this by just detecting and understanding what the norm is for your organization. Once we have established a baseline, we move on to phase 2 and phase 3. This is where the CrowdStrike solution is now working alone and providing not only the detection, but the prevention as well. Today, I'm just going to focus on phase 3. During this phase, we are establishing visibility, looking for things such as next-generation antivirus, on-demand scans for USB, while also looking at any type or behavior related to malware or ransomware. This level of visibility and monitoring will occur immediately after CrowdStrike is deployed, after a quick tick on or off tick box exercise. Moving on to the sensors, we can do this on all systems, whether they are Mac, Windows, or Linux, or if you have a mixed hybrid environment in terms of operating systems. The next part I want to talk about is the firewalls. Of course, we have our main firewall that oversees the whole infrastructure and your environment, but we also have a host-based firewall that is part of the CrowdStrike agent. With host-based firewalls, we are able to get really granular and create rules on that specific host if needs be, so we can allow any inbound and outbound traffic on that specific device. We can then go even more granular in terms of creating rule groups, so we can say what type of firewall access control list we want to create on that specific device. This is mainly for environments that are more complex, where they have specific hosts that are not allowed to communicate in certain areas. Once that is enabled, you will be able to see the screen here. That says that the CrowdStrike sensor has now overtaken the Windows firewall on your host machine. The next feature I want to talk about is USBs. This is key because the bad actors sometimes leave USBs lying around the working environment. People can then plug these USBs in to find out what's on them. And what we do is have quite a draconian but secure lockdown, where we're making sure that all USBs are blocked in the environment, as you can see here. So anything plugged in will be blocked automatically. We can do the same, whether that be for headsets, printers, Bluetooth, wireless, and what have you. If there are situations where there are specific admins that need it, that's not a problem. What we can do is add an exception and add that specific type of host group in. That could be just the admins and the IT team. Or if it's a situation where you want to have it for a specific type of USB, we can get more granular and have that type of USB allowed for the whole company. Or we can even add a temporary exemption just for a specific time period. Moving on to vulnerabilities, we want to understand what vulnerabilities are on your environment. As you can see here, we can then give you remediations for those specific vulnerabilities. We also tell the host that they have these vulnerabilities on them, as well as anyone with any critical vulnerabilities on their device. We can give you an overview of the vulnerabilities per day and show you, from a patch perspective, which machines need a reboot. If there are any pending patches, we also show you those here. What's more, we can create tickets for those vulnerabilities. So let's say, for example, you want to work on a specific CVE. You can create a ticket and we can link that to your ticketing system so your team can then work on that vulnerability fix. Not only that, if there are specific CVEs that you can't remediate and you want to accept them in your environment, that can be done as well. It then won't show up as a vulnerability again. We can do this by creating a suppression rule and clicking accept risk and filling in the description. That CVE will no longer come up on those reports as you are accepting that specific risk in your environment. Another feature our customers benefit from is full visibility and understanding of the devices on the network. This is broken down into 3 categories. Managed assets. This is where we have the sensors installed on your devices. We then have unmanaged assets, where we've seen through the passive discovery by the sensor that the asset is communicating with managed assets, but it doesn't have the CrowdStrike agent installed. Or we have unsupported assets, where we've seen it talk to a managed or unmanaged asset, but it's something like a firewall or a switch that can be monitored by our NDR solution.